Um, okay, we're rolling. Um, can you tell me about how the manifests that you're working on relate to some of the things that you found on microfilm? And they won't hear my questions. So.
Well, some on microfilm you can see like advertisements for like the ships going and arriving, like departing and arriving. That's the word I'm looking for. To and from their destinations. And sometimes you can even see some of the ships you've found. Like I've seen the James Monroe a few times, which was really kind of bizarre.
And you have the transcripts from the manifests from the same ship?
Yeah, I'm actually on the James Monroe right now.
Okay, and what are you doing? If I'd never heard about this before, what are you doing with the manifest of the James Monroe?
Well, basically, wait, how do you?
In other words, just start from like I'm taking the names of the slaves and the ages and putting them onto a spreadsheet.
Well, take the names, put them on a spreadsheet rather than write them down. Seeing what I can figure out with the lettering, since it's very old writing, and sometimes I mistake one letter for a different one, like an F for an L. And other ones I can transcribe well. Now, with this one, it shows these little lines. That means that's the same thing down until it changes it. The same with the color. And
Now, what interesting things have you found going through the newspapers on microfilm that relate to the project?
well, first I found an article about an infirmary for slaves. I found it while I was looking for the ship Lady's Delight first. Next thing I found was a list of 7 runaway slaves running away to this island, which I cannot remember, one of which was apparently a native of Scotland, which I didn't think there would actually be Scottish slaves. I also found, really interesting, a ship going to Liberia that was run by this colonization society, which I still do not know who founded it, that take freed slaves to Liberia for them to live as humans and not as property.
What kind of information would be in the newspapers about the ships?
Well, there would be information like when it departed, when it arrived. Its cargo is one of the main ones that pops up a lot. They also have lists of ships that also come with on the newspapers that show like just the supplies they bring, like linen and food and molasses is one of the main ones that keep showing up.
And did you also find stuff about the slave auctions for the ships, for the slaves being sold to put on the ships?
I found a few of those here and there. I also found an article about an auction house for sale.
And elaborate on that a little bit for somebody who doesn't know. These would be auctions for auction houses for slaves, and that was done right here in Norfolk.
Yeah, auction houses for slaves, and basically, they would line the slaves up, and the person selling them would show what they're good at, what they're not good at, to see if the price would be fair.
Okay. What was the most interesting thing you found in the newspaper?
Besides the ship going to Liberia, what I keep often finding that's kind of confusing and interesting to me is that a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the linens and food stuff, come from a place above England, called above England is Ireland and Scotland. Apparently, they keep getting stuff from there, which I really didn't think they were allies at the time. And I really, at the time, in the 1800s, they probably invaded by that time. So I'm not sure how they could get it out up there during that.
So are these ships like coming from England to the United States with these goods, offloading them and putting slaves on and taking them down to New Orleans? Is that what the route is? Does the newspaper articles say what the route of these ships are?
It doesn't say the route, but it does say the cargo and where it's coming from and going to.
Mm. So you find them coming from England, from north of England?
Well, I don't see like from Ireland and Scotland. I see from England a lot, so I think they might have been allies at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they were.
So they could be getting from somewhere and basically paying them, which would be good since England is the money bag country. So they would give money in order to get stuff, basically making them wealthy in supplies and Ireland and Scotland wealthy in money, which they probably needed at the time.
So when you started doing the microfilm research, were you first looking for ships that you had found in the manifests?
Yes.
Well, they wouldn't hear my question, so kind of repeat when you first started what you were doing.
Well, when I first started, I basically looked for the ships that we have so far, and we would try to find when they departed and when they arrived. And in the middle of that, we'd also find interesting details that people usually overlook. And basically, I found a lot of those, like the infirmary and things that basically might be used for other research projects.
And did that help you to prove that or decipher some of the stuff in the manifests by reading the newspapers? Like, because sometimes it's hard to read. Could you find information there that would help you with the manifests?
Well, I could find information there that could help me with some of the manifests. Others, I just have to go for it and try to figure it out on my own.
Good. Okay. What do you see as the worthwhile? Why is this a worthwhile project to be working on?
I mean, history is full of mysteries, and taking it one step at a time by researching areas and finding who's been there and what's been there might lead to something very interesting.
Good. Okay. Thank you.